Hey, what's up guys? Steven, TheSalonGuy here, and today I've got Chris, and this is a really unique situation because Chris has awesome curly hair, a lot of thickness to it, and this is just like a rare opportunity. And when Chris wanted to, we connected, I said, dude, you gotta be a model because you got such great curly hair. So what we're gonna do today is I wanna actually leave a good amount of curl up and through here, but I want to just kind of take this down and taper it down a little bit in through here to create a kind of tighter shape in here, still leaving some length, but I'm going to use some kind of point cutting techniques and stuff just to kind of break this up a little bit. But I really want to essentially work this into leaving some length on the top to really accentuate Chris's curls. So I'm ready to go. Let's get started. All right, so what I'm going to do on Chris's hair in the back is, this is really key because we can leave the length, which I think is a good length in through here, but if we bring this up too much, then it's gonna kind of go way too high, I think. And I think this is a good kind of area to have some length in through down here because it adds some characteristic to the haircut. What we could do later is, clean up some of these hairs in through here, but what I really wanna do is leave some of the length right in through here. And he's been growing his hair, so it's grown into this. So you don't always have to cut it. You can kind of work with it, which is what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to point cut the length a little bit. I'm not looking to take length off. I'm just looking to kind of add a little bit of texture to it. And it might seem like I'm not really doing a whole lot, but believe it or not, this is going to help really soften up the haircut. So it's not just one big, curl and one big heavy area of hair, because his hair is real, pretty thick. So what this is doing, it's actually just kind of adding a little bit of texture to the length in through here, so it's a little bit of a softer shape. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to now begin the layering process, which I'm going to now hold everything straight out from the head, cutting horizontal sections like this. So we're going to use the fine teeth of the comb, which is going to give me a much more tight section and a much tighter hair pattern as far as how the hair is pulled out from the head, as you can see, compared to the wider teeth. Would kind of separate the hair a little bit more. And all I'm doing is I'm literally point cutting into the section. And what that's doing, it's leaving the length, but it's also creating some dimension and some texture into the curl so that when it does curl up, it's going to have a little more kind of movement to it, not just be one big kind of bunch of hair that curls up in a big heavy kind of area. And I'm doing this literally throughout the entire back of the head. And each section is being pulled out from where it's growing, out from the head. And so now we have this section down through here, as you can see. Now we're going to take another section and we're going to work above that section. And now we're going to, even if his hair drops out, that's fine, because we're working kind of section by section, working up the back of the head. So again, I'm just going to add some point cutting to this. And you could be like pretty aggressive with this if you want, meaning like you can cut deeper into it. You can do some finishing, detailing work, which I'll do. But curly hair is really great to work with because you can do so much with it and you can add such great texture and dimension to the curl. And what we're looking to do is really just kind of break up the curl pattern a little so it's got a little more movement to it and texture. So when you style it, it's got a lot more shape to it and texture. I think it would be very, very helpful, especially when styling your hair. So here, what we can do is now switch our hand position. So now cut to where we're facing the client this way. I'm facing Chris's head in a comfortable position, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to point cut just like this. And I'm just going to kind of, again, break up some of that curl and add some dimension. You can also go in this way and do some slide cutting like this, which is another technique. And however you're cutting, whatever method you're using, again, the key to this is just breaking up the curl pattern to add a little more movement to it so it's not so heavy. And this also is great if you were to grow your hair out, because it's not going to be just one big head of hair here with tons of hair. It's actually going to help break up the curl and loosen it so it's not, as it grows, it adds a lot of texture to it. So we're working up the head, and following the head shape is really crucial for all of this. You really want to cut this where it lives and where it grows, out of the head. And I'm really just following the natural head shape. All right, I'm following around the head, as you can see, from working back here up into the top. So what I'm going to do is we're going to continue to do this type of technique throughout the entire head. And once I'm done with this, finishing up and through here, we'll come back and then we'll talk about how we're going to kind of connect the top and then working through the sides. All right, so now we're in the transition point of cutting the back into the top where we're connecting. And again, I mentioned I did want to keep some length on top. So all we're going to do is, again, we're going to point cut to preserve the length. But again, I want to create some texture in through here. And we're going to connect this the same way we would normally for any haircut, is going from here to here. But the difference is we're just simply point cutting. And again, you can slide cut like this if you want. And a lot of times what I do is I'll do like the basic point cut, and then I'll go back in before I'm done, and then I'll start like slide cutting, and I'll start doing things to kind of really enhance it. So now that we have this done in through here, we're going to hold this straight out. It's from the head like this. We're going to look at what we're working with here, and then I'm going to point cut and slide up this way to just remove a little bit of that weight. But I want to preserve the length. So you comb it straight up. And we're doing this pretty much through like the last 3/4 of the section. That's it. We're not cutting it down at the scalp. We're getting just enough to where it's going to make a difference that the curl is going to have a little more texture and movement to it. You do not want to go too low to the scalp because that's just going to be taking off too much. And you do that by simply closing like that, and you're sliding the scissor in the end of the hair like that, and that's really going to help create a nice softer shape. So now let's connect the corners into the sides. So I wouldn't mind taking the sides a little bit shorter, but as you can see, it goes from shorter to longer here. So let's remove some of the weight coming this way into the corners. We're following the same pattern, same technique of just slide cutting just like that, because we're not looking to take off a lot of length. We're just looking to kind of break up the shape a little bit. And this part now, the very, very bottom, is where we can go a little bit closer if you want and take off a little bit more, because it's okay to have it a little bit tighter around the ear area. But I'm not looking to create a really, really short haircut, kind of around the ear. I'm just looking to really thin this out a little bit right into this area to reduce some of that excess weight. And this is going to help kind of soften the shape up and through here from wearing it back. So he can wear it kind of down over the ear if he wants, or he can slick it back now without it being so heavy. And that's what's great about this. Don't forget, we have to make sure all of this is connected, meaning the side in through the corner. So as you can see, here's the hair right here, and I'm going to just point cut to make sure it's all blended in. All right, you don't want to have a mullet going on here. You want to make sure it's kind of evenly balanced, and that's where now you can work the shape in through here, as you can see, so that when you do bring this all down, it really has a nice balance and a nice flow to it. So let's do the same thing on this side. We're going to comb everything straight out from the head, and there's the corner right there, and we're going to slide cut just on the ends to connect everything and to remove a little bit of excess weight. Now, in some areas, if it is longer and it needs, some of the length needs to come off, then just, take it off. Because don't be afraid to cut the length if it's needed. If the length is actually preventing the hair to have a good flow to it and for it to be balanced for the haircut, then you can take off the length, which is totally fine. Again, so just like the other side, as we're getting more closer to the bottom of around the ear, that's when we can go a little bit shorter and a little bit tighter, which we'll do. So I like to break everything down from the top to the corners to the middle and then the bottom, which is like the sides, and then the bottom of the sides, which is like around the ear area and through here. Now we're going to connect, remember what we did before, the sides in through the corners and the back. And we do that by simply just holding it straight out and point cutting, just to make sure it's all even. What we're going to do after is just I'm going to do some additional texturizing work. So when we come right back, I'll show you guys how I'm going to add some more texture to this. All right, so Chris's haircut is complete, and I think this really, really looks good. And as you can see, it's got a big difference from how we started. You know, before he had a lot of hair going on and through here. It was really, really heavy, but now what we've done is we've kind of reversed the shape so that this is the highlight point in through here, and then this is tapered down a little bit more in through here, and as well as into the back. So the back, we probably got it about 2.5 inches in length, right in through here, all the way throughout the top. The top is again about 2 inches, 2.5 inches in length. Everything is pretty proportionate as far as the length goes. The shortest point would be probably around in through here, and that comes down to probably about the middle of the ear. Now keep in mind, curly hair shrinks up, all right? But the way we trim this and what we did to it will allow for it to go back pretty easily. So you can kind of trim this down and slim down the shape if you follow the haircut that we did by just kind of adding some point cutting and texturizing. And now we're ready to style it. And styling, you can do a whole bunch of things. For curly hair, this is great, you know, tips for curly hair guys. Like, I'm going to spray in my sea salt spray Tidal Wave, which is my go-to product for a lot of stuff, but especially for curly hair. Like if you guys just want to have a natural kind of finished curl or wave and you don't want to do much to it and you just want to like have that beachy kind of look, Tidal Wave is like the way to go for styling your hair like this. It just dries in a very soft kind of natural state, and it does have light hold to it, so it's great for that look. For Chris's hair, and for curly hair in general, I always say you want to just let it air dry because it's going to dry just like this. It's going to have good shape to it. The minute you start running your fingers through it and disrupting the curl, it becomes frizzy, becomes out of control, and it really takes away from the shape. I would say let it air dry or towel dry it a little bit and just let it do its own thing. All right, that's the best way to style curly hair. Now what I do want to do is I do want to use a little bit of my product HAZE. HAZE is really, really awesome because it's a dry shine pomade, kind of different type of technology where it's got the pomade type feel to it, but it's not oily or greasy, so that when you run it through, it's giving it that shine like a pomade does, but it's like that more of a dry shine. And that's really what's great about this. And also it gives good medium hold as well. So it does have some holding capabilities. It's got certified organic extracts in it, really, really high quality stuff. But this is great for his hair because it will help accentuate his natural curl by adding some shine to it, which is great. I think curly hair sometimes loses the shine. So by putting a product in like this, it really brings it out and helps accentuate it. And then again, let it air dry into place. And I think this looks really, really good. And I'm going to spin them around so you guys can see the finished result. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video with Chris here, and I hope you guys are interested in checking out my products because I love how they perform, and especially with Chris's hair, they really did a great job. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more videos with the Salon Guy.